The Qur'an speaks about Allah's hand, His face, even His throne. But does that mean God has a body like ours? Or are we completely misunderstanding these verses? For more than 1,000 years, Muslim scholars have debated how these verses should be understood. Today, we'll uncover why these are among the most misunderstood and most important verses in the Qur'an.
So our today's topic is, the anthropomorphic references to God. Yeah, anthropomorphic, it means tashbih, simile. Yeah, to relate something to other, comparison. This is in English an anthropomorphic references. References mean descriptions, and anthropomorphic means the descriptions that contains, the simile, the comparison, and more specifically the comparison of God with the creation, Got it? Like Allah's hand, Allah's face. So these are the references. When we say Allah rose on the arsh, and similarly wajhullah, Allah's face. Yeah, so Allah's smile, Allah's coming, Allah's arrival. So all these are descriptions, references. We are referring to something, and these references, they contains a comparison between God and the creation. Yeah, because when we say Allah's hand, so it means just like we have a hand, we have hands. Similarly, Allah has hand. So it seems to be a comparison there. Actually, there is no comparison, but these references, these verses, actually, they project. There is an impression, there is a projection that there is a comparison between our hand and God's hand, our face and God's face. Yeah, because whenever these words, are spoken before us, like hand. So what we understand from hand word, we understand, this, physical organ, limb. Got it? So actually these verses, they contains some meanings that are problematic, that are comparison based. There is a comparison between the creation and God. So how should we understand such verses that includes the anthropomorphic notions? If we reflect upon the Quran, we find that there are two types of verses are there, right? So one of them, they are called muhkamat. This one, muhkamat is Arabic word, and it means the verses whose meaning are established and clear. The verses who have clear meanings, established meanings, like aqimu as-salata, atu az-zakata. Is there any vagueness? Is there any issue or problem to comprehend the meaning? No, right? We know what is aqimu and what is as-salah. Everything is detailed in text. So such verses, which are very clear, very explicit, we call them muhkamat. What it? Sound verses. In Arabic, sound verses. And Quran says in Surah Baqarah, such verses are ummul kitab. They are ummul kitab, the mother of the book. They are mother means they are the main source, of the Quran. All the core beliefs, they are derived from such verses. Even all the ahkamat, the halal and haram, they are also based on such verses called muhkamat. Why? Because they are very clear. Very clear. There is no problem to understand them. That's why they are called the means the source, from mother, all the generation, all the race, it comes. So Allah says such verses, they are ummul kitab. But on the other hand, and they constitute the major part of Quran. The most part of the Quran is muhkamat, right? There are only few verses that are not muhkam, or they are, allegorical, ambiguous verses. Because in comparison to muhkamat, such verses, which are the mutashabihat, in Arabic we call them mutashabih. Mutashabih means resembling, confusing. Got it? And by mutashabih we means the ambiguous verse, the allegorical verse, whose meaning is not established or clear, whose meaning is not literally, their meaning is clear, like yadullah, Allah's hand, and in dictionary we know yad mean this limb, and wajh, Allah's face. So we know that what is Allah's face. Got it? In dictionary the face is defined, but its implication, it's applying the wajh on Allah. It is problematic, because in other words, Quran claims that Allah laysa kamithlihi shay. Allah is not like others. So there is no likening between God and creation. Got it? So that's why here problem arises, how to translate, how to interpret, how to believe, how to understand these verses. That's why these verses are called the mutashabih, mean problematic. Yeah. So why they are problematic, like I alluded, they described God using physical and human-like features. That is the problem. Yeah, they describe God using physical and human-like features, while Allah is transcendent. Transcendent means Allah is supreme. Allah is above and beyond the creation. So how he can be resembling the the physical human beings, the materialistic human beings, composed by bones and flesh and blood, right? So there is no likening between them. But still, there are verses that use the terms that are physical terms. Yeah, so they are such verses. They are referred to. They are termed as anthropomorphic references. Got it? And I told you, anthropomorphic means embodied. Yeah, embodied descriptions. You can call it embodied, descriptions. Or the word tashbih also, conveys the same meaning. Tashbih, किसी को किसी से तशबीह देना. तो ये वो वर्सेस हैं जिनमें अल्लाह की तशबीह लाजिम आती है. अल्लाह की तशबीह है नहीं. अल्लाह की तशबीह जो है वो इससे रिजल्ट हो रही है, इससे हमें ट्रांसलेट होती हुई नजर आ रही है, अगरचे है नहीं. Another verse, there is, it is stated that on the day of judgment, the earth will be in his grasp. Grasp. What is grasp? Mean hand, in his hand, in his fist. All the earth, earth means the universe, means the whole big, kawkab. So all this big sayyara, earth, it will be in his hand. So a physical thing, which is earth, made of soil and metals, including everything. So it is in his hand. So it means Allah's hand is also a physical thing, because you cannot hold something, in air. You cannot hold it in air. So there must be a physical surface upon which you can put the earth. So this verse is also anthropomorphic reference. And in the same verse, in the same context, Allah says, and all the heavens will be, rolled up in his right hand. The earth and all the 7 heavens, they will be rolled up in his, like a roll, in his right hand. Got it? So it also imply. It doesn't mean, but it imply. Yeah, it imply that the Allah's hand is also just like ours. Means it is a hard surface. It is a physical thing. Got it? So and other verse, the istawa al arsh. Istawa literally means firmly established, seated. Batna. Istawa al arsh mean Allah firmly established, firmly seated on the throne, mean arsh. So it means when we say seated, established, so it means Allah is a physical being. So you cannot imagine a thing being seated without a body, without a physical body. You can't imagine that it is seated. So you never say that the air is seated. No, because air is not a physical thing. Got it? So what about God? If we say that he is seated, so it means he is also physical being. So such verses, they are only few verses I quoted here. So they are anthropomorphic references. They are called. It means their content is anthropomorphic references. The mutashabihat, they refer to profound matters. Yeah, they are profound, deep, complex matters who are beyond human language and comprehension. They are out of our capacity to comprehend. Got it? Why? Only because Allah's essence is unknown. Allah's essence is unknown. All we know is the attributes, his actions, his characteristics, not his zat, his self. So that's why, how can we describe his zat then? That is the problem. If we don't know his essence, how can we use a word for that essence? Yeah, or what would be a word that could describe his essence? No, there is no word. Yeah. So our understanding, it is confined with the language we know. Yeah, we can only understand the things that have words. Yeah, without any word you cannot understand anything. So for example, I say istaftanosh. If I say to you istaftanosh, so is it make sense to you? Does it? No, because you are not familiar with this word istaftanosh. What does it mean? Similarly, so to understand and comprehend a thing, we should be we must be familiar with that essence, with that thing. That is the problem here. That's why these verses are called mutashabihat, ambiguous verses.
This is only the beginning. In our next episode, we'll explore why Muslim scholars disagreed on these verses and what each approach teaches us chapter in this journey through Islamic theology.